when you know something about the employee, because like I said, just human nature, you can pick up on certain things, and when you have that personal relationship, you tend to be a little bit more sympathetic and empathetic when it comes to certain things. So I feel as though it would make a better relationship. That employee would feel more apt to actually work harder and give 110%, opposed to coming into work and his supervisor or the owner or whatever is just like a politician, and the fake, hey, how you doing, and everything good at home. I don't know. For me, I could just always tell when someone was just doing it, just going through motions, just to say that they actually, talking to you and they giving the appearance that they care, but deep down they really don't care, because they don't know anything about your children, anything about your family, but they just coming across like, okay, hey, how you doing? Family good? Just that general normal conversation that you ask somebody just to come off as I guess human, so to speak. So that's why I brought this topic up. I'm just curious, what your thoughts are, what the audience thoughts are when it comes to this. And so what do you got on that, Mark?
Well, I guess I'm gonna be on both sides of the fence on this one. And some of it probably gonna be common sense. When you say that, you more or less mean just as far as co-workers, meaning employee level, not managers and employees. Because I think it's a difference. Obviously, you shouldn't, I hate to deal with the word fraternize because that could be misconstrued, but I'm gonna share some stories a little later, but I'm gonna share one right now. It's funny that you said that this is the topic. And the reason why I say yes, it is good to know your employees, because like you said a minute ago, you can pick up when somebody's in a bad mood or something's wrong or whatever the case. You could be able to notice, and you kind of, comfort them and help them out. So I say that's good to a certain extent, but this is where I say that could be detrimental at the same time, because where I work at, it's a big corporation. So I think if it's a bigger corporation, it should be a little bit more professional, because if you get too friendly, then people tend to slack. And the reason why I say that is because the company I work for, like I said, we work on assembly. We welders. So it's a section of 5 people. It's a line, it's a long ass line, like a long hallway, almost the size of a football field. And each section has 5 people that works in it. So we all interact, we talk, because we work in 12 hours. So in that 12 hours, nobody's gonna be like robot, just being quiet, not saying that, because that'd be awkward and weird and just a long day. So we all interact, right? Mm-hmm. So this is why I'm gonna say that it's good, but it's not good, because, and I told the guy that works for me, it's crazy because I think they too lenient where I work at, because everybody just walking around talking. You feel like you're in a social club because people walking and talking while they're literally working, and they get off the line and go to the other line to chit chat with their coworkers. And I'm just like, seriously, we're in the middle of work. How you just gonna stop working just to start talking and make it seem like it's not even about work? Now I know y'all like, what's your point? So my point is, they all are close. They go out, they hang out till they're real close. So I think they tend to take advantage of that, because now they at work and they carrying it over from outside of work at work. And like I said, they're in their little cliques and they sitting around talking and BSing instead of doing their job. So to me, I think that's where you could be good friends or close, but you gotta know when to separate that and be able to say, okay, we're at work, we can do all this on break. Because I'm like, why don't y'all talk to each other on break when you should? But when they on break, nobody's talking. That's what's funny to me. Everybody's just sitting around, not even talking to each other. But when they're in the line, everybody's yakking around. So today, matter of fact, just got off of work, and all the big wigs came down because we are production, right? So follow with me, guys. So we, like I said, we assembled the exhaust for the Toyota Tundra trucks. So we got behind, and everybody was yakking and talking. So the supervisors came down to see what's going on, because they constantly monitoring the production because Toyota has a quota that they have to meet. So they real strict. We a manufacturing company for Toyota. So when something ain't right, big wigs come down. So they looking and they wonder what's going on. So two of the co-workers next to me one of the co-workers told the other one, cover for me because I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And she goes and take like 30 minutes. And I'm like, now your co-worker got you doing your job and her job. Well, that's my friend, so I don't mind. I'm like, well, she's taking advantage of you because she took way too long to go to the bathroom. 30 minutes. I'm like, either she doing something she should be doing or she has in there asleep because it shouldn't take that long. So the long moral of this story is that's where I think you can't be too friendly with your employees because sometimes, depending on what job you work at too. I mean, this is assembly, this is manufacturing, so it's different wherever else you work. So for us, like I'm saying, this friend took advantage of the other friend, in my opinion, because she knew that she was gonna cover for her. And she didn't ask me because we don't interact like that. So that's my other point. So she knew better than to ask me because she knew I'd be like, nah, you need to stay your butt over here and finish your production. So that's why she never would ask me to watch and have me cover for her because she know that I'm like, no. So she asked her friend because she know her friend is going to take her and get her back. So again, is there something wrong with that? No. But I think it's a thin line where you need to know when to say, you know what, this is work. We can't be buddy and do that because what you're doing ain't right. You're making everybody else get affected because you're taking 30 minutes. So that's where I don't like it too much. I mean, again, I get it. When you work, you're going to develop a friendship, rapport with each other. That's common. I think every job you're going to have that. But I think, again, you got to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. I know that was a long story, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm focused more so because I know you as a manager and you had employees before. So I'm more so speaking from the sense of if you're a manager or an owner and you have employees, do you feel as though you should know your employees? Not necessarily like going out and hanging out and stuff like that. I mean, just know your employees. Like, for example, let's say you have you're a supervisor, you have 5 employees, 10 employees under you, and you know each individual employee, you know their children's name, you know each of them have maybe 2, 3 kids, 4 kids, they're married, you know their parents still live here, where they was born at, you know, just simple things about them to where it's more personable opposed to just like a robot, so to speak. I don't know. In my mind, I just think it's better to know something about that individual. And like I said, opposed to just having that politician come down and like you had your bigwigs come in. And I'm pretty sure they was like, hey, how you doing, Mark? You know, everything good? You know, how's the family? You know, they just cover the bases, assuming that, okay, he's an older gentleman, have a family, or he might have grandkids, opposed to, hey, Mark, how you doing, man? How's your grandson doing? Oh, he's doing good. Man, so he's probably what, in first grade? Yeah, is he talking? Yeah, he's talking. It just, to me, it just feels like that person is more genuine. Opposed to, like I said, just the blanket, hey, so how's the family doing? And for me, I'm not going to probably get this 100. Well, I won't say I won't, but if I know that supervisor or owner is more personable, and when he talks to me, he knows something about me, I don't know, I just would do a little bit more than someone that just, like I said, is just give me the politician type of response or interaction with.
Well, I mean, that's why I asked you that. I know I went to a tantrum because I figured that's what you was going with when you said employees, but I should have picked up on that. But I mean, being that I was a manager, so I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be honest, I think it's kind of gonna be the same situation like I just said with a coworker. I think it's important, but then I think you gotta be careful on how much you know about your employees because it could be used to their advantage. Meaning, just for example, when I used to be a manager at Sonic, And I remember Rufus, my manager, I always call him Professor Clump because he looked like Clump. He was a big brother, looked just like Clump. And he'll always give me scenarios and stuff. And he would tell me, you need to stop being so friendly with your coworker or employees. I said, why? He said, because once they realize how close you are with them, they're going to start taking advantage of you. I was like, what do you mean? He said, just watch and see. And I'm like, nah, they ain't like that. And then one time it was an employee that kept calling in. And I mean, I'm trying to cut it short. I'm trying not to make a long story. But I knew everything about him. You know, we went out a couple of times, but we, for the most part, kept it at work. And I got to know his brothers, his sisters, you know, his kids, real cool dude. You know, he had started to have problems at home. And I noticed that. So I'm like, hey, man, so what's going on? Your work, I noticed, has been going on a decline, and you just don't have that outgoing attitude, and you seem to be more reserved to yourself. So what's going on with you? Something's going on in your life? He said, man, I just got a lot going on with my girl, and I'm about to break up. So I just need to figure this out. But I'm like, okay. So I let it go. And I said, all right, man, just make sure you do your job right, and don't, you know, keep coming in late. Start coming in late. And he just started doing a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be doing. And he kept coming to me knowing, because we are cool, that, hey, man, it's okay if I leave early because I got to go and do this, and that. I'm like, yeah, man, but just make sure that you give me more of a heads up. So Rufus comes back and he takes me into the freezer, what he calls office. And he's like, am I paying you to be my manager, or am I paying him? I said, what do you mean? He said, because he's acting like he's the manager, telling you when he want to come in and when he want to leave. So I just demote you and let him be my manager since he seemed to be running you? And I was like, no. He said, well, you need to handle that, because he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He's taking advantage of your friendship, and he's doing what he wants. And you need to be a manager to him and stop being his friend, because he needs to understand the difference. I said, yeah, he's not like that. He won't do that. He said, I bet you any amount of money, if you tell him if he calls in again, he get written up. Watch how he responds to you. And I'm like, he ain't going to do that. He know that it's work. So I did exactly that. I said, look, man, I'm going to have to write you up, because he kept on doing the same thing. Coming in late, you know, leaving early, and I had to write him up. But I said, I'm going to have to reprimand you because you're not following the company. Man, come on, man. You're supposed to be my friend. Why would you do that? Can't you understand the situation I'm going through? Just put yourself in my shoes. And how would you take that? You should be able to understand that. Just let me work this out. And I'm like, I can't, man, because it's affecting the workplace, because you're coming in with bad attitude. You're leaving, so I got to find somebody to cover your shift. So it's affecting everybody, not just you. Man, this is BS, man. I thought you were supposed to be cool and shit. This ain't right. So long story short, Rufus said, okay, he's still doing it. So either you going to fire him. No, he said you need to fire him, because by protocol, he got to that point where he needs to be let go. He said, I guarantee you, if you let him go, he's not going to be your friend no more. And I was like, nah, he ain't going to do that. So I wound up letting him go, and he stopped being my friend. Didn't want to call, didn't want to take my calls. So to answer your question, just one scenario, I think it is important, like you said, to know your employees. Now, people might say, well, maybe you just took it too far. But I mean, we went out maybe once or twice. So I don't think it was because we hung out outside of work. It wasn't that. It's just he knew that we had a good rapport with each other. So he took it far and beyond. So he expected a special privilege because of that. And that also was another thing. Other employees started to see it. So they'll complain to my manager, Rufus, which is my head manager, that, hey, man, why does Mark keep giving him the pass and letting him do this? That ain't fair. He don't do that with nobody else. So then it'd be called favoritism. So that's why I would say it's a thin line. Again, I agree you can, but you as a manager, you have to really be careful with that, because, and you know, as people that's going to be jealous just because they might see that you have a good friendship, and you might have it with all your employees, but it's always going to be that one that's going to feel like, well, you giving him or giving her too much attention more than me, so they're going to get butthurt, and then they're going to want to throw salt into it and make it seem like you're doing the favoritism. So that's where it is important, but any manager or supervisor have to be careful with that, because that's going to always be the first thing that comes up. And I lived it. So, you know, it's one time, not saying it's going to always be like that, but that was one example that happened I did have to let dude go. He never talked to me again after that. So I'm serious. Like, I was like, and we know each other for a few years, but you know how it worked with Sonic for like 6 years or something. So it's crazy that he couldn't separate work and understand that it was a business decision, and he did it to himself because, I kept giving him a pass and lenient, and he expected it forever, pretty much. So
okay,
that's one, but yeah.
I'm going to dig in your bag how you
yeah.
But I'm going to go back a little bit when I was in the military. And so for me, it really depends on the person. Like, I'm not talking about relationship hanging out. Like, I never hung out with my soldiers, but I was still personable enough with them to where I knew something about them.
Right.
And sometimes, some NCOs is like, hey man, you need to be a little bit more friendlier with them and really get to know them.
Right.
I'm not saying you can hang out with them all the time, but you just need to be a little bit more, personable. But I still knew enough about them to where when I interacted with them, I still could, like, let's say for example, they was having a hard week, and I knew that they had stuff going on at home. So based off of that, I kind of navigated around as far as how I treated them and how I talked to them and so forth, because I knew they had stuff going on at home because I knew that about him. Because I knew he had a wife and so forth. While I ask questions, they'll come in. So, hey, how's your everything going on at home? How's your wife? Oh, she's all right. She just stressed me out a little bit, and she's just getting on my nerves because she expected me to do this and that. So I was able to give him advice and still get transparency from him because I knew enough about him and his family till he opened up. So when you cross the line as far as hanging out, that's another whole perspective you have to handle. But I'm talking about as far as just know them enough and know enough about them to where they can be open with you and not feel as though, okay, this dude is fake. He's just acting like he cares, but he really don't care. And they're never going to open up to you. They're always going to go to the person to where they feel as though they might have some empathy and sympathy as far as their situation. So that's more or less what I'm referring to when I'm talking about should a manager know their employees personally, not necessarily hanging out with them and knowing every single detail about them. But I'm just saying, like I said, if they got a family, the kids' names, if their parents still alive, just enough for them to feel comfortable enough with you that they can trust you if they need to talk to you about anything, and just knowing like, okay, I know Mark, he really cares, because every time he sees me, he said, hey, so how's Karen doing? How's Mike and Ed doing? How they doing in school? They doing good in school, man. Them kids, I know teenagers, they can challenge you sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You can have a conversation that makes you personable, but not prying. Just like a blanket general conversation about children and stuff like that. And I almost guarantee they're going to be probably a better worker opposed to that supervisor to come in, hey, Mark, I need you to do this. You know what I'm saying? Not even asking, is everything okay at home? Knowing that you have a wife and 5 kids, so it can be stressful. So you say, okay, he come in, hey, everything good? How's the family? Oh, yeah, they good. But you just come in, hey, I need this done. Make sure this is done by this time. I need you to pick this up. And they come in, they got stuff on their mind from home, and this joke is just barking out orders. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it'll be a little different with that manager or supervisor that knows you, knows things about you, opposed to the one that just the only thing they know is you come in from 9 to 5 and you clock out and you drive a Range Rover.
On that aspect, I think you should be personable to know that much, but I guess I'm taking a little extra with it. But again, like today, perfect example, the supervisor or the president. Okay, it's one coworker he's real friendly with. Now, I mean, not friendly in that manner. Let me rephrase that. That might come across wrong. But he's always like, everybody looked at her as his favorite employee because, hey, Flo, you know, so-and-so, how you doing? And like you just said, real sociable, but he has his hand-picked people that he does that with. So it's not what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you're going to do that, you better be like that with everybody.
Everybody,
so,
yeah.
Because if you do that, but you only do it with select few, that's still gonna come across as you only have the certain one, you know, certain people that you like, that you will be personable with.
Right. And
then the rest of them, hey, like you said, just that little dry ass, hey, how you doing? How you doing today? But you know, it's like you ain't really here. You just saying it to be so that's where I would say, yeah, you should be. But if you're going to do that, you better be like that with everybody. Because it's funny today that President ran up to this lady and carried a conversation. And this guy is new. I was training this guy. He goes, man, who is that? I was like, that's the president. He said, oh, because I thought that was his wife or something, the way he goes up to her every day. And he don't say that to nobody else. He only goes to her. And I just start laughing because I'm like, this dude new. He's new. And he picked up on that. And then when he goes to us, it's like you say, hey guys, how's it going? Everybody's doing good today. Little fake, like the dude said, they fake as shit, man. Yeah. So I agree with you on that. But I just think if you're going to do that, you need to be with everybody. And I'm not saying everybody's going to take that and be like, oh, he's a nice guy. You still have some people that's going to think that, man, he's just doing that just to get on a good side. But it is better. So I will agree when you have a supervisor, manager, whoever that has that seniority or superiority, you know, seniority, the manager, I'm trying to pronounce the word. It does, you can tell the difference. Because there was a guy today that a brother, you know, a black guy that just got hired on the company. He's one of the main guys. And he had to go on the line and learn how to work the equipment. And he ran, man, so what's your name? I told him, he's like, man, so you make this look so easy. And I started talking. I said, where you from? Because I know your accent. You got a little accent. It ain't Texas. So I told him I'm from Philly. And he's like, oh, I'm from East Coast. So we started chopping it up and started talking. And he's like, man, that's cool. And it's nice meeting you. And if you ever need anything, just let me know. Now, the reason why I brought that up, he only did that with me. Everybody else looked at me like, oh, yeah, he trying to connect because it's two black guys. You know, so I just started laughing. I said, it's not even that. It's just he found a connection with me. Everybody else, he did the kind of, hey guys, how's it going? Nice meeting you. But with me, he kind of went a little bit further and got personal. Yeah. So again, I agree with it, but if you're gonna do that, you gotta kind of connect with everybody a little bit, just to make everybody. And I say you gotta please everybody, but there's always gonna be those few that's gonna be in the background, looking at it and taking it the wrong way or get butthurt because they feel like they don't get that treatment. But it does make you feel like you're important. That's for sure. So I will say, when you have a manager like that, you know, it does feel like, okay, this guy actually cares about me as an employee, not just another head or per body that's working, making money. So yeah, that is definitely important. I would say more with small companies, business companies is very important because you like a family, you know? Exactly. So I think a small business would be definitely, you should be able to be personable with your employees. Like I worked when I was in the oil field and I was a parts coordinator and we worked overnight. There was 6 of us. And he actually did that. The supervisor was like, okay, we did a little round table. You know how they sit down and, okay, I want everybody to say their name and say something about themselves and what they like. And so we get to know each other and know, because we're going to be a family here, guys. And we're going to see each other for 20 hours or whatever. So we really need to be getting in tune with each other. So I kind of like what he did because it got everybody to get to know each other. Then he got up there and said what his spill was. And he was personable, like you said, you know, not hanging out with each other. But when it came to work, he always asks how's home and everything's good. So it makes a difference, especially with small companies.
Oh yeah, but that kind of takes me back when I was in Germany, and I remember the battalion commander. I'll never forget this dude. His name was Lieutenant Cusimano. I think he was Italian. and he always carried this big ass wrench. And this dude is like the battalion commander, so which is kind of equivalent in the civilian sector. I would say probably like a CEO of a company. So he was like the CEO of the battalion.
Right.
So that's like 4 companies. And he would always come down. He had like his days. He would come down to the motor pool. And he would make his rounds, and he knew each individual soldier. Like how you were saying the president, how he just was favoring the one female.
Yeah.
This guy, he knew everybody, and not to the point to where his personal names of the children, but he knew. Okay, Sergeant Tompkins, I know the last time we talked, you said you're married, you got 5 kids. How are your kids doing? They still, challenging you and your wife. Yeah, they still challenging me. Like, man, I know that's got to be rough. I got 4 myself. And he was like that with everybody that he talked to. So every time he came around, people still had respect for him. They knew not to cross the line, but they knew that this dude was genuine and he cared because he put himself out there to let people see that, okay, even though I'm the lieutenant colonel of the battalion, I'm just a person just like you. It's just I just hold a rank and a position, and that's the only reason why I'm at where I'm at. But as far as humans and as a father and as a soldier, we're still on that same level. So and people actually work harder, and they just put more effort towards their jobs because they felt as though this dude was worth putting forth that extra effort. So I just feel as though that has to be like the one you was talking about. He was just dead wrong. How he was just singling out people. Yeah, you're gonna definitely turn people off. He probably didn't have the skill set to be able to talk to other people like that, and he just got so comfortable with her. And I don't think it was probably intentional. It's just like you gravitate to certain people. You see them like, hey, what's up? And he probably just went with it, but. Yeah, that's something he definitely should. Somebody should pull him aside. Like, hey, sir, you need to, be like that with everybody. And if y'all got your own little relationship off on the side or something, you do that. But don't do that in front of everybody else.
Yeah, because when he did that, it's funny because he literally walked by everybody. Hey, how's it going? How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Y'all ready to get out here early? Everybody looking like, wow, you just had a nice conversation with her. So it is every time he goes to her and no one else. And I mean, it don't bother me, but it's just like you said, just to make it fair, just go to other people and just kind of keep it even, balanced. But yeah, that Joker, he funny because that guy I was training, that's what made me laugh because he just started this week. And he's like, every time I see him, man, he go to her. I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, man, they know each other a while. I think she's been here like 10 years, so they have that longevity and that rapport. He's like, whatever, man, I don't believe that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's good to have that.
Okay.
Now, go ahead. What?
No, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, I ain't saying no names, but my significant other, she did something. She's in a lead position at where she works at. And she did something I thought was cool with her employees. She did like a vision board thing. So I thought that was really cool. Have them sit down and do vision of what they want. And, instead of be out, interactive, she did it to kind of get them, again, the bond because they their own small little group. So I think, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it should be across the board, most jobs, but when it's a small group like that, 5, 6 people, I think it's highly important because y'all going to be, like they're working together. You're going to get more out of them because they feel like it's more of a family than just work. So they be happy to go to work because their boss isn't just, okay, you need to get this done and all this. Like, damn, don't you have a heart? So it's important. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's important to have that little bit, I'm going to say a little bit. I'm still going to hold my hat on, balance and be careful with that because, again, it's not you, it's just certain individuals might take that and use that to their advantage. You know what I mean? I don't think most people will, but there's some that'll be like, damn, what can I get away with? So unfortunately, there's always some like that.
I don't know. I think it depends. And I'm going to touch something you touched earlier as far as like the hanging out part. I think that really. No, I'm saying I'm going to touch that part now. So I think that part actually really depends on what type of job you have. Because to me, like police officers, I think that should be something that's you should be able to do that. I think that's something that should be accepted. And one reason why I say the same thing like with firefighters, anything that's dealing with like a team concept where you rely on that other person for your life. I think in that type of setting, that shouldn't be looked down upon because you really, really have to know the person to trust them. Like, okay, I trust you that if something happens, you got my back. And it's the same thing like with paramedics and kind of even sort of in like a hospital setting. I think it should be like that because everybody works together and you have to work as a team. And I know going back to the military, because I was like that when I was telling you earlier, as far as I knew everything about them, but I didn't hang out with them. That sometimes put a wedge in the team because everybody else was hanging out and I wasn't hanging out. So sometimes it was less likely when we in the field or get ready to go to combat, they was like giving me the side eye because it was like, we don't really know you like that. Yeah, that's cool that you know our family and you interact with us on that level, but we don't know who you are as a person. So I think when it comes to an occupation, like I said, that depends on your life or anything in like a team concept. I think that should definitely happen. I think it should be okay to hang out and know each other on that level because sometimes you're going to fight harder because that person is your friend. And that's someone you like truly love because you have a relationship with them. So I think that part really depends on what job it is that you're working at and what the setting is. Like, for example, the small business. I think because it is small, you'd be more like a close-knit family. Right. And everything would go smoothly because it's like when you come to work, you're working with family. Right. So that could be, you can have your positives with that, and you can have your negatives too. But then that's just comes down to professionalism, right? And how professional and how good of a leader that person is to not allow them to cross that boundary. So, I was just wanted to say I think that part is important, depending on what job it is.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's important. Like you said, you want that camaraderie with each other, like you said, perfectly. When you got teams that you depending on that's going to have your back, like you said, this person got your back because you experienced life situations with them other than just work. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, but I mean, you know me, I'm devil's advocate, so I'm always going to be that one that people probably going to think I'm being negative, but it's always some. So you got to admit that. You got to address the elephant in the room. That there's going to be some that's going to be cool, but again, they hang out and then they bring it to work and they expect, we hung out, we cool like that. Now, even though we family, even family getting arguments and disagreements. So that's where it could be a problem where it trickles over from going out and then they come to work mad. Because when I was at Sonic, and you remember Eda, my ex, I shouldn't have said her name, but I did. When we was married and we all worked at Sonic, that was a close-knit family too, because we all was the crew. And we all went out, and then when we come back to work, one had an attitude, and then one didn't want to speak to the other one, so the next thing you know, nobody's talking. So it was all weird and awkward because everybody had no attitude from the one person. So I think that would be, again, like you said, you got to learn how to separate professionalism from, being sociable. But it is times when that happens where it crosses over and it shouldn't be a little drama, but sometimes it is. And that's just the only thing that I would think would be, again, you got to be careful with that, is that you don't have that, we have that moment where they mad, so nobody's talking to each other, and then now it's all tense in that workplace. So again, not often, but sometimes that do happen. But more or less, you can nip that in the bud. but it does
Yeah.
happen. Just, just be careful with that. Because I used to be a manager, that's the only reason why I say that. But for the most part, yeah, I was cool. People I didn't go out with, and just from work, we develop a rapport with each other, and it was fun though. You do feel like you get more, because I did get more out of the employees that way. So that is a plus. Most definitely, it's more a plus than it is a negative. As long as everybody's on that same page. So got those few. Yeah.
So at your job, you said that they be, I don't know what you said. You said chit-chatting or talking.
Because they be in little groups. Because like I said, it's a group of 5. And if it's a little downtime and one of the machines have to be fixed, now you're supposed to, they call it 5S. You go clean or do whatever to stay occupied and stay busy. But these jokers just want to go and chit-chat and talk. Now this is the funny part, is why I say this, because the leads is the ones that's talking with the people. So I'm like, seriously, you gonna sit there and talk with your employees when you should be telling them to work, and then he'll go and tell the other people he ain't cool with, oh, y'all need to do something to stay busy because y'all can't be standing around. I'm like, didn't you just come from talking with them? So that's where it becomes a problem, where you can see that, you can see where the lead or the manager is giving special attention to a few, and the other ones also strict by the book. So again, that's why you have to be balanced. You got to be making sure that you do that across the board, because then when you do come down on them, then they gonna get mad at them. Man, why are you doing this, man? You ain't supposed. Now they mad because they realizing that he's being strict to them, and they never had that before. So that's where, not all the time, but that does come up. Like, it's this guy I work with, young guy. He's real cool with one of the leads. And she goes to him, it's funny, because she'll go to him and be like, hey, E, I need you to do this, this, and that. And she only tells him and nobody else. But I be standing right there. And we laugh, be like, why did she just come to me and don't tell nobody else? So the rest of the group that works all together, because 5 of us, they come up like, hey, what did she just tell you? Because she ain't say nothing to us. She went right to you and then just walked off and left us hanging. And she does this all the time. She goes only to him and tell him stuff. So I'm like, hey, E, you need to tell everybody else what's going on, because you're the only one that seems to know. Because she don't talk to nobody else. So he be like, man, it ain't like that. I said, it is like that. So that's why I say you got to be careful with that. Even though they don't hang out, they have a good rapport with each other, but she singles him out and communicates to him like he's a spokesperson for the rest of the people. I'm like, if you're going to talk to him, talk to everybody. Like, we all work on the same line. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that, And again, not everybody, but it's some jokers like that. Leads, managers, like I told you, the president. It is funny to me because I've been on both sides of the spectrum. So
so I was going to ask you, is the production pretty good though? I mean, do y'all produce, even though they interact like that and they sometimes chopping it up and they shouldn't be? Is the production pretty good? Like, does the team work good together?
Yeah, it was, but now it's becoming to where, and I told my man the other day, I said, this is getting ridiculous. I said, this company going to fold. Because it seems like everybody, it's too lenient. I said, somebody needs to come in here and be a little bit more of an asshole, because everybody's cool with everybody, or meaning manager, supervisor. So they don't do anything. Like, literally, they be walking off the line to go talk to somebody. I'm sitting there like, how can you just do that? Like, to me, that's just disrespectful to your coworker. And 2, you're not out in the park somewhere. You at work. Like, be professional. But these jokers been doing it. It's getting worse. Like, it's becoming more and more where people just doing whatever the hell they want. And it wasn't like that when I first started. So, and I think it's because these leads that they have is so cool with all the employees. The employees are picking up on it. And this is what Rufus told me when I was the manager. He said, you're going to have something that's going to see and watch you and know what they can do and can get away with. And you're going to have something that's going to listen and respect you. But the ones that's going to be cool with you is using you to get away with what they want to do. And I think that's at work it's a lot of those coworkers where they using the advantage of being cool with their lead to do whatever the hell they want. And I'm like, that's not even cool, because you're affecting everybody else that's trying to work, trying to get home or get work done, and you messing around socializing, for what? Do that on your break, like I was saying. I'm like, why are you doing that now? And then you on break, y'all ain't saying nothing to each other. Sitting right next to each other on your phone and shit. So I'm like, come on. So yeah, that's the only reason why I say that, because I see it, when it's a lead or supervisor, whatever, that's too cool. Now I know you were saying earlier that you don't have to be too personable. But I think when you've been with them for a while, then it starts getting to that point. Because now you know more and more and more about them. And again, there's some jokers that they see that as an advantage to do what the hell they want. But, I mean,
I'm gonna be transparent and give a story of my own personal experience. So it was this particular person in a certain location. I ain't gonna disclose all that, but that person was definitely superior to me as far as position, and was same rank and everything else. But we wound up dating, and so I got a little bit too involved, and I was catching feelings and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't being like disrespectful, like showing up late and stuff like that,
Right.
just getting, peripheral treatment. But it just got to the point to where I was getting so attached that because the work environment we was in, that person was my boss, I felt compelled to be honest and tell the senior person that we was involved. And this joker was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I know this person is bad, man. I see why you're into it." Long story short, he went and told the big wig, and I could have got busted down for fraternization and stuff like that, but he wound up sending me to another company. So I know exactly what you're talking about when you say sometimes you get a little bit too close.
Right.
Bad things can happen. Unfortunately, good thing for me, it turned out, bad because I had to move, but it could have got a lot worse. Yeah. But it was still kind of challenging because, everybody knew about it, and, people look and say, "Yeah, that's the dude right there that was messing with so-and-so." And he was told the darn boss. You believe that? So I look like a chump and a sucker at the same time.
Yeah. See, so that happens. That's why I say it's a thin line. Because I think some people have some integrity, but I think nowadays there's just too many people that take it to their advantage, what they can get out of it. Instead of realizing that this supervisor just being real respectful and wanting to care about me, and help me out, they look at it as a green light. Oh, damn, this fool let me do whatever I want, so I can do whatever I want. It's like, that's not right. But it's just some people that's like that. Not everybody. Some.
I don't know. I think that's kind of human nature because you get comfortable.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like intentional. It's just like you feel so comfortable that sometimes you forget and lose your bearing. Like, okay, we're still in a professional setting, and there's certain things I shouldn't be doing. But when you're attached and you're comfortable with the person, you just going to just go with the how you feel emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
And it takes a good person to be able to separate that. Because there's some people I know that was having like relationships you would never knew that they was together. No, those jokers was bad. Because I'm like, there's no way that you can go that long and nobody know about it. So there's some people that can do it. But I just think it's human nature sometimes. It's just natural. Just, like your coworkers and stuff. They real friendly with each other and, they enjoy each other's companies. It's just human nature. So how do you separate that though? Should you separate that? Because like I said, for me, that's why I asked that question, how was the production? Because to me, if it's productive and that's not truly harming anybody, why would you not look down on it, but why would you kind of break that up or frown upon it?
Well, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so again, it's 3 lines. They call M1, M2, M3. I work on M2. Now, on M1 is the badass fast line. They the ones that handle it, get done, hit the bill, which is their quota, go home. Now, the lead lady that works, the checker at the end of the line, is the one that's buddy-buddy with the president. But the thing is, she runs her line real strict. Like, them fools can't talk. And it's funny because I had a girl that got new. She's new. She came from M3, which is more or less where all the new employees go. So they put them on M3 more or less because they starting to learn. Once they get better, they migrate them into the other line. Anyway, so she came to M2 and like, man, I'm glad I came to this line because the other line is so boring and the machines break. That's speaking on M3. She said, I didn't want to go to M1 because they too strict. They don't do nothing but work, man. The D don't let them do anything. They can't talk. They just got to work. Yeah. So the point I'm making is they get their production done. But the other two lines BSing around, chilling, talking, socializing, production was good, but now it's falling off because they get too comfortable with that freedom. So now they start to do it more and more than they did before. So their production is starting to be punished, not punished, but it's starting to have effect because they're not focusing. But M1, them jokers, they cool. They know when to talk, but they don't do it during production. But they real quiet. You don't hear nothing from them. They look like robots. So to answer your question, yeah, it is affecting production. But the one on the other line where she's real, hey, y'all better not say nothing. Like they say that line's the reputation is you better not talk. You better make it short, quick, in a hurry. So that's why I would say, I know you were saying nobody wants a manager like they'll lead like that. But I think she gets more respect than the other ones because they know she ain't messing around. Even though she ain't real personable, they know she's not here to play. It's like, come to work, y'all can socialize, but you better do it quick or do it on your break. But when you on this line, clock in, let's get out of here. So she gets more respect. But the ones that's a little bit more friendly, nobody respected them because they already know what they can do and get away with her. So that's why, or him, and that's why, they don't get the same result. And again, to fall back on when I was with Rufus, and he told me that. He said, you're going to have some that's going to do everything you want or ask, if that's asked of them. But then you're going to have some that's just going to have an attitude because you gave them conversation, you showed that you cared. They're going to be like, well, why can't we just relax and let us get away with it this time. And again, it's not going to be all the time, but it will come up at some point. So that's why I say again, yeah, production is good, but it's going to fall off at some point because like you said it perfectly. You get comfortable. So when you get comfortable, you're going to start wanting to do things a little bit more slack because you're comfortable with your buddy, your supervisor ain't saying nothing. So once they do say something, now they're going to get butthurt. Now they're going to get an attitude. So that's why I think you got to be both. If you're going to do it, be cool, personal, but at the same time, let them know, hey, we still got to get work done. Y'all can talk, but minimize it. Don't be here acting like you on break when you should be getting your work done. So I think if they manage it that way, there's no problem at all. But again, like I said, some of those supervisors chopping it up too. So they don't even know how to be professional because they sit there conversating. So that they can't be strict because they not strict themselves with their own self. So no, I mean like really, like they gotta stop at some point. Like, damn, I can't do this. I gotta be able to get this work done. So I think they have to have both. They got to be balanced. And we say that in almost every podcast. And what we talk about, you got to have that balance.
Yeah, I haven't said that in a while, though.
What, balance?
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying it. So I think you said on certain things, not everything, but certain things like this, especially because when I was a supervisor or manager, that's one thing they always told me is be good to your employees. Mm-hmm. Show them that you do care, but you got to know how to let them know that. Same time, I need you to do my work or do work. Don't just take this as fun time, you know? And that's a challenge, because when you do get personable with some of them jokers expect the world, and then some get it. They be like, I get it, my boss, I appreciate you, I'm gonna do what you ask. But it's just some of them jokers, they expect everything. Knowing that that's your boss, they expect everything. They feel that comfortable level of, you know, having that freedom to talk to you about anything. So
Now, I'm sitting here thinking, I would think age would have a lot to do with that. I'm hoping that someone around our age will have the maturity to, you know how to be professional and know how to draw a line and have boundaries. Now, if someone is pretty young and they straight out of high school and out of college, you know, I kind of expect them to still be that way because they still kind of have that in their system. But someone that's like, you know, close to our age or a little bit younger, I would hope that by that time they matured enough to where they still won't be, you know, not knowing how to be professional. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. Now, that's what I'm saying. Like with the manager, they should know how to navigate. Okay, if I got young adults coming in, I can't be the same way with them opposed to somebody that's senior. But if they're senior and they still don't know how to draw the line or know how to be professional, then we got some problems.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The age do have a big part, but some of them jokers, like you said, even though they're older, you would think that they would be more mature, but they sometimes worse than the young ones. I had a young supervisor that's stricter than the older one. And I'm like, really? But, you know, I mean, I think it boils down to the individuality of who you are and what you expect. Because I've seen couples leads there that's almost my age, and they very immature. Not like running around acting like a kid, but where they handle situations like, come on. Like, you shouldn't even be doing that. You know what I mean? So I agree, but again, I always believe it's a sprinkle. Nah, I ain't saying every manager's like that, but it's a sprinkle that's out there that, you would think that they have that maturity, especially they've been doing it for a while. Yeah. You know? That does make a big difference too, though, the age. But I have some young ones that's very good to be that age, very mature, professional, but still, interact. And I told him, I'm like, yo, man, how old are you? Because I thought he was older just because the way he carried himself. And he like 24, so I'm wow, I'm impressed. The guy that works with me, he's 19, and I told him, this kid, I said, I'm really impressed. Never calls in. Yeah. He cares about the job. I mean, he's really impressed me to be 19, because I told him, I said, I usually don't have a good thing to say about y'all generation, but he's really a good guy, but he's very professional, but have fun. We joke a lot. Right. That's good. And we had this one guy, he just got hired. And he tells everybody, I'm going to be a lead pretty soon. And I'm going to change stuff around here because I don't like the way this place is being ran. And he literally just got hired. He's telling everybody he's going to be a lead. So I'm like, I love his ambition. He's manifested basically what he's going to be. And he was just saying that, it's too lenient around here. I need to change some stuff. So nobody liked the guy because he's acting like a manager and he's only been there like 2 days. So I'm like, what, the way he talks, I think he's been in a managerial experience somewhere before. And he has to start from the bottom because, that's just where they hired him. And then he's going to work his way up. Because the way he talks, I'm like, this dude been a manager somewhere. It ain't just because he's just an employee and just want to be an asshole. Nobody likes him. Right. But it's just, he knows, what it's like to be a manager just by listening to him talk. So I'm like, this dude's a manager somewhere. But it's just funny that he's like, I'm going to change some things around here. And nobody likes him. They're like, he's going to be an asshole because he don't, he just comes across like that. I'm like, well, he might change some stuff for the good. Because sometimes you need that discipline, Because a lot of those leaders there now, They ain't disciplined at all. I mean, it was bad, dude. It was bad the last couple of days. Like, it was bad. Let me put it that way. I'm looking around like, this is work. I mean, people walking around, it was just weird. People walking around like they in a park or something, just not caring. I'm sorry, I know I'm probably saying too much, but
Yeah.
it was just, I've never been, and I've been working some different jobs. I've never been in a job where it was so free to just walk around and socialize. I mean, people were socializing in groups. Like, they literally was not at work. It was just, it tripped me out.
Wow. That's all leadership right there.
Yeah, exactly. I was
You're
just
letting it happen.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, because they are cool with all the employees, you know? So it's just like, somebody needs to stop, because ain't no work getting done. Production is getting worse because of that. That one reason right there, because everybody messing around, socializing, like they in a club or something. Crazy.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this one. I thought it was a good talk. Got some good insight.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say it really depends on the environment, depends on the individual and the maturity level. So I don't think it should be like a definitive yes or no, it shouldn't happen. It just depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm gonna close it pretty much saying the same thing. It's good, it's necessary, because it does make the workplace better. You have better rapport with each other. It's easier to get along. So it makes you feel like you're important. And I think that's a big thing when you work, especially small companies, even big corporations, but smaller companies or businesses, definitely. That way it'd be more like a family, and you work together and get your job done. So yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so beautiful people, on that note, that's going to be the end of this episode 30. I want to wish all the fathers out there happy Father's Day. Y'all be safe, enjoy, and we see you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah.
In a world of envy, analyze as these guys looks to see. They clones to the naked eye, the dynamic dude, no pesticides, they organic, day and nights the podcast. In panoramic in 4K, live streaming on your airwaves, no cliche to downplay, this ain't no child's play. Twin brothers close knit, but ain't a gang, personalities differ, like a yin and a yang, not alike, with certain views, philosophies and principles, inspiring nature's knowledge. Metaphysical, the sun, moons, and stars, mass attraction, affinity, the Big Bang Theory, the energy, infinity. Next we got Marcus, the opposite, laid back, chillin', kick back, laxed in a Cadillac, casinos and blackjack, blues and a side chick, slick, sly, mischievous, surreptitious, no love lost between, they always bonding, they wonders of the world, they monsters, the twin Tompkins, brought on only born, they travel the world stomping at the break of dawn daily. The iron's pumping, I bring no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody, cause it's day and night.